politicians everywhere, making it very clear.
It's the season and a reason to turn your frown upside down. It's the season and a reason to spread love and joy all around. Christmas.
And a happy
Yeah.
New Year.
Merry Christmas.
And a happy New Year.
Christmas.
And a happy New Year.
Merry Christmas.
And a happy New Year.
Good evening and welcome to the news on the network service of the NTA. As usual, we have an hour and a half this Wednesday special, an hour and a half of news, interviews, stories of Nigeria and Nigerians packaged with an extra touch of details and perspectives. Tonight, we will be going over the 2022 budget with a fine-tooth comb with expert analysis and projections. In Lagos, we will be tracking government's infrastructural interventions there to ascertain the excellent or not too excellent developments in the center of excellence. Still in Lagos, we will get an update on the Magodo face-off. Who stares and who blinks first? On security, we will be in Zamfara as more kidnapped victims regain freedom as police nabs illegal miners in Abuja. On health, we will track efforts at improving tertiary healthcare. Then, we will serve you a special report, common cold, and its frightening symptoms since the advent of COVID-19. How do you separate facts from fiction? In Ibadan, the king is dead. Long live the king. Kingmakers announced the new Olubadan elect. These and more on the lineup tonight, which is our first outing this year. As you know, the taste of the pudding is in the eating. I am Fatima Umar Buba, and this is News Extra. You're welcome. The 2022 budget is expected to further accelerate the recovery of the Nigerian economy and facilitate the completion of critical projects as well as improve the general living conditions of citizens. Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning Zainab Ahmed, while giving a breakdown of the budget, pointed out that it reflects the key execution priorities and strategies of the National Development Plan 2021-2025. Let's join Leah Katun Babatunde as she takes us through Nigeria's income and spending plans for this year.
The 2022 budget signed by President Muhammadu Buhari late last week had some key changes made to it by the National Assembly that include an upscaling of benchmark crude oil rate. This is in line with forecasts by the World Bank and the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD. The key assumptions now have oil price pegged at $62 per barrel, with an expected output of 1.88 million barrels per day, an expected GDP rate of 4.02%, inflation 13%, and an exchange rate at 410 naira 15 kobo to the dollar.
The National Assembly had maintained the proposed volume of 1.88 million barrels per day, including condensates, in the 2022 budget. And this means that the executive and the legislature must push the oil and gas sector to attain these production volumes.
The projected aggregate revenue available to fund the 2022 budget of 10.74 trillion naira, inclusive of government-owned enterprises, is 32% higher than the 2021 projection of 8.12 trillion naira. Without the government-owned enterprises' retained revenue, the federal government revenue is projected at 9.01 trillion naira. Aggregate expenditure inclusive of government-owned enterprises and project-tied loans is projected to be 17.13 trillion naira. Recurrent non-debt spending is estimated to amount to 6.91 trillion naira, and aggregate capital expenditure is 5.96 trillion naira. At 3.61 trillion naira, debt service is 21% of total expenditure, while overall budget deficit is 6.39 trillion naira to be financed mainly by borrowings.
Government will continue to create enabling environment for the private sector to increase their investments and contribute more significantly to job creation, to economic growth, and to lifting millions of our citizens out of poverty.
Critical allocations in the budget include 1.234 trillion naira to the education sector, 876.38 billion naira to the health sector, defense security, 2.29 trillion naira infrastructure, 1.42 trillion naira, as well as social development and poverty reduction programs, 462 billion naira. The budget will run along with the Finance Act that focuses on 5 key areas: domestic revenue mobilization, tax administration, legislative drafting, international taxation, financial sector reforms and tax equity, and public finance management reforms. In Abuja, Leah Katungbaba today, NTA News.
Still talking budget, in the year 2022, there would be some real reforms in the public service. Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, while responding to issues in the economy, says government is harmonizing recommendations that include the Steve Orunsai report. Leah Katumbabatunde again has the report.
The year began in top gear as economic activities resume full swing, but there has been uncertainties about removal of subsidies, particularly petrol, with labor unions already warming up for action. However, they might have to wait a little longer.
We made a provision for first subsidy from January to June, and that means from July to December, there's no provisions that we made from first subsidy. So our assumption is that by June, we'll have been able to walk through a process together with all stakeholders.
The military pensioners had earlier protested to the gates of the Ministry of Finance over exclusion in upward review, but the minister shows that the 2022 budget has captured 24 months arrears for them. The national budget, she reveals, is wholly being linked to the National Development Plan, and in planning discussions are on for a national census this year to update the nation's population database. There is a broad range of changes coming that involve review of salaries, review of government agencies, and employment generation.
What we want to do is to reduce the size of government and also to reduce the size of the personnel costs. And part of it, of course, will be designing exit packages that are realistic.
In boosting income and ensuring a healthy business environment, the strategy this year involves working with states on their relevant laws to avoid duplication of taxes and increase non-oil exports for revenue. In Abuja, Leah Katungbaba today, NTA News.
Well, thank you so much, Leah, for that. And to talk more on the issues around the budget breakdown, we have Dr. Kabir Sufi. He is a political economist, and he's joining us live from our Kano studio, like I said, to discuss more on the breakdown of the budget. You're welcome, Dr. Kabir. Of the budget.
Thank you for having me.
So we've watched the two reports. I know you're there watching too, but I'm going to start by asking you now, the Finance Act now is tailored to work with the budget, but then a whole lot of issues around taxation have been in existence. What is your take on the international taxation and the issue of multiple taxation?
Well, yes, like the minister has said, we are looking at a way we will enhance our tax revenue without duplicating taxes, without necessarily overburdening Nigerians on the issue of tax. And I think that is a place where we have to be careful. Yes, we are increasing our tax revenue, and we are trying to avoid duplication, which I think it's a place where we have to be careful, and if it is done, it should be commendable. I think we have seen an increases in the tax revenue for Nigeria, especially what we have seen with regard to excise tax that is going to be greatly enhanced in this year's budget.
Okay, we can't talk about the budget without talking about the Orensai report. We've heard about it, we've seen it written all over. Now, do you see it becoming practical this year? And with the intended changes to salaries and staff strength, what's the benefit to the economy?
Yes, some of the major issues being raised with this year's budget is, of course, the issue of the recurrent expenditure being higher than our own capital expenditure, and that has also been tied to budgets and wages and salaries. So I think the implementation of the report will largely see the reduction in terms of leakages that we are seeing, and of course streamlining the civil service so as to see in future that our own recurrent expenditure is further reduced and our own capital expenditure is thereby increased. So I think, yes, the implementation of the report is timely. We have always been talking about that the reform is there, but its implementation has always been delayed. We are hoping that if it is implemented this year, it will further see a reduction in our own recurrent expenditure, in our own wages and salaries, and then we see us allocating more to the capital expenditure.
About the benefits. I'm talking about the benefits now to the economy. I want you to shed more light on that too, please.
I think, Fatma, that is what we are saying. What we are saying is that if at all, our own wages and salaries have been streamlined in accordance with the report, then we will see a drop in our own spending on our wages and salaries, and that can now reduce our own recurrent expenditure, and it can then be channeled towards capital expenditure in the future. I think there are a lot of benefits to be driven from the implementation of the report.
Talking about debt sustainability now, what do you make of the borrowing plan this year?
I think that is another area of concern. Looking at our own debt servicing profile, especially when you look at the budget, 21% of it going to debt service and bond repayments. And then, of course, also there is this issue of a deficit of about 6 trillion naira, over 6 trillion naira, and we are expected to finance that through, of course, more borrowing. And this is an area of concern. But if the government is talking about maybe looking at that area, then we believe that our own debt profile will reduce, and then the economy will now be better financed. We have seen increase in taxes, and that is also an area that is highly commendable. But then when still there is a high debt profile, one will say that we need to do more with that regard. And I'm happy that the minister has talked about that area too.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kabir Sufi. It's good to have you on News Extra. Well, because of time, we have to go back to other issues. Thank you so much for coming on News Extra.
Fatma.
All right. President Muhammadu Buhari has appointed the board and management of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. Senator Margaret Shuba Okadibo from Southeast is the chairman of the board, while Melokolo Kyari will serve as chief executive officer and Umar Ajia is the Chief Financial Officer. Other board members are Dr. Tajuddin Umar, representing Northeast, Lami Ahmed for North Central, Mohammed Lawan, Northwest, Henry Obi, Southeast, while Constance Harry Mashal is representing South-South, and Pius Akinyeluri, Southwest. A statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, states that the appointments take effect from the date of the incorporation of the NNPC Limited. Also appointed are Executive Commissioners of the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission. They are Dr. Nuhu Habib Kanu, Executive Commissioner, Development and Production, Dr. Kelechi Onyekachi Imo, Executive Commissioner, Economic Regulations and Strategic Planning, Tonglang Roland John Delta, Executive Commissioner, Health, Safety, Environment and Community, and Jide Adeola Kogi, Executive Commissioner, Corporate Services and Administration. New appointees are the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority are Francis Alabo Ogare Rivers, Executive Director, Hydrocarbon Processing, Mustafa Lamurdi Adama, Executive Director, Health, Safety, Environment and Community, Mansour Kulia Kanu, Executive Director, Midstream and Downstream Gas Infrastructure Fund, Bashir Sadiq Sakwato, Executive Director, Corporate Services and Administration, and Dr. Zainab Gobir Kwara, Executive Director, Economic Regulations and Strategic Planning for Midstream and Downstream Infrastructure Fund. New council members are F. Young Abia, Akwa Ibom, Bugboy Ahmed Adamawa, and Abdullahi Bukar Katsina. Nigeria to begin servicing $3.4 billion international monetary funds emergency loan as the capital market maintains positive posture. Let's join Musa Abakar for details on business news. Musa.
Thank you, Fatima. The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, says Nigeria will begin the repayment of the $3.4 billion emergency funding loan it took from International Monetary Fund (IMF). The minister said this at the 2022 budget breakdown.
So we have a 5-year period within which to pay, starting from 2022, and we're paying it over a 5-year period. So it's going to start from 2022. I think it's in, is it June also? Yeah. Something like that, yeah, about June. Yes, there is a repayment schedule that will go by. It's not annual payments, it's quarterly repayments.
The International Monetary Fund had approved $3.4 billion in emergency financial assistance for Nigeria to support the oil exporters' response to the coronavirus pandemic in 2020. Oil prices extended gains on Wednesday, appreciating towards $81 a barrel after OPEC Plus producers talked to an agreed output target rise for February, and investors assess the impact of a spike in COVID-19 cases caused by the Omicron variant. Brent crude futures were up 0.81% to $80.65 a barrel, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures rose 0.73% to $77.55 a barrel. And now to capital market. The equities market closed on a bullish note. The all-share index climbed 1.00% to close 43,476.75 points, and equity capitalization appreciated to 23.4 trillion naira. 1.24 billion shares worth 42.9 billion naira exchange hands in 4,032 deals. Boer Foods, Wema Bank and Transcorp are the top 3 most traded stocks at the end of the day's transaction. And that's business news. Well, Fatima, it's over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Musa. Now, 2021 is a year to remember for many reasons. In Nigeria, there were gains and challenges, but the arrival of 2022 no doubt triggered a new hope for a lot more on positive side in the future. Guests on NTA Tuesday Live say the surgeon in 2021 may be mixed grill, but the prospects for 2022 appear promising. Abakar Akwanga has that.
You cannot take away from this government that no government in this country had ever invested in terms of hardware and recruitment into the armed forces and other security agencies.
People who make governance impossible. We say in the military that once an enemy is known, he's half defeated. You start from there.
The statistics shows that there is improvement, and that improvement in terms of coming out of recessions, indices has shown that the revenue, the target are met, the large investment in terms of infrastructure.
These key players in the nation's economy and security front are impressed with the performance of the 2022 GDP growth rate, despite inherited challenges from the year 2020, which slowed the pace of development, aggressive investment drive, social intervention programs, and improved security are some of the measures expected to launch the nation into a new dawn in 2022.
Yes, capital market in Nigeria has taken up, and it has done relatively well in the last year. But there is a lot of work to be done, because once the security signal is there, nobody will come, no matter what you said, no matter what you talk, because they have their source of information.
We recorded a lot of sources in the sense that the judiciary came out fully to let them know that they still remain the resource of not only the common man and the big man. And we can see that through several pronouncements and decisions that came from the court. And again, judiciary reminds Nigeria that law is no respecter of anybody.
As the world bleeds of finances to manage emerging needs, Nigeria is growing fast in adjusting to current economic support system, with emphasis on security for better and prosperous days ahead. In Abuja, Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
Let's head to Lagos now. As the economic nerve center of the largest economy in Africa, Lagos State benefited massively from various interventions channeled at repositioning the economy and strengthening the confidence of investors in 2021. These initiatives, which are changing the spectrum of business opportunities, will be tapped for more economic growth in 2022. Abolade Salami reports.
Lagos State, the city with a large heart, prides herself as the most industrialized city, as well as the commercial giant of Nigeria.
For us in Lagos, the economy is something that we need to be pushing all of the time.
The city in 2021 hosted the nation's leader, President Muhammadu Buhari, at several times to inaugurate laudable projects with a view to drive national integration, develop human capacity, and boost domestic growth.
The connection through rail would position Nigerian ports as the choice for import and export business of the people of landlocked Nigeria Republic.
The development in 2021 cuts across sectors of the economy, which Lagos benefited largely. From the 157 kilometers Lagos-Ibadan standard gauge rail line and its extension by 6.8 kilometers into Apapa Port to decongest the access of heavy-duty trucks, to the Deep Blue project aimed at securing the nation's maritime territory against pirates and external attacks, the launch of the third seaworld defense boat, inauguration of ships and helicopter for the Nigerian Navy as a proactive strategy to combat sea attacks, were also some of the giant strides recorded in the past year.
The issue of these platforms is not only restricted on piracy, armed robbery, as you mentioned, pipeline vandalization, oil theft, illegal refinery, illegal smuggling of arms, illegal narcotics, drugs.
Also of note is the reconstruction and rehabilitation work ongoing at the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, almost at a completion stage, while the Apapa Oshodi and Third Mainland Bridge repair works have been a major relief to motorists plying the route.
What the Buhari administration is doing here is monumental work, keeping traffic moving, almost 50,000 vehicles per day.
As the new year kicks off with high hopes and aspiration on the delivery of more dividend of democracy, states and local governments have been charged to take a clue from the federal government's ideology of stimulating growth and development. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
So a bit on judiciary now. The Supreme Court, as the highest court in the land, has continued to adjudicate on both criminal and civil cases in its appellate jurisdiction. These are in addition to matters that fall within the original jurisdiction of the Apex Court with only 18 justices. In this report, our judiciary correspondent Delicacies takes a look at the performance of the Apex Court in 2020 to 2021 legal year.
Jurisdiction of the Supreme Court can be divided into two. The court's original jurisdiction as enshrined in Section 232 of the Constitution and its appellate jurisdiction. In its original jurisdiction, the court entertains matters relating to dispute between the Federation and a state, dispute between states, as well as any dispute involving question bordering on law or fact on the existence of a legal right. Dispute between National Assembly and any state, as well as National Assembly and any state House of Assembly. These are some of the reasons the docket of the court is full with all manner of cases. In 2020-2021 legal year alone, the court entertained 681 cases with several backlog of cases yet to be attended to.
Our laws have to be amended to make most appeals to terminate at the Court of Appeal, which is competent to handle such appeals.
If you look at the volume of work they do compared to what happened in other jurisdictions, you know that they are carrying a lot on their head.
The Supreme Court, the workload is heavy. One, there's almost a right of appeal in respect of all decisions of the Court of Appeal.
The 2021 practice direction by the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Ibrahim Tanko Muhammad, is equally geared towards ensuring speedy dispensation of justice.
The government of President Muhammad Buhari is doing a lot in terms of supporting the judiciary.
Trial at the High Court level should be for 1 year, at the Court of Appeal level 1 year, and Supreme Court 2 years.
While frowning at the invasion of the residence of Justice Mary Peter Odili, the court is also evolving a way to check the issuance of search warrant and warrant of arrest. The legal practitioners commended the justices of the court for the feat achieved during the 2020-2021 legal year. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
The official gazette declaring the activities of Mbindiga Group, Enter Adda Group and other similar groups in any part of Nigeria, especially in the northwest and north central regions, as acts of terrorism and illegality in line with Abuja Federal High Court order has been released. The declaration order also prescribed Mbindiga Group, Enter Adda Group and other similar groups in any part of Nigeria, especially in the northwest and north central regions, either in groups or individuals, but whatever names they are called, mandating that this proscription order be published in the official gazette and 2 national dailies. The order also prescribed the groups mentioned and other similar criminal groups operating in any part of Nigeria with a view to carrying out banditry, kidnapping for ransom, kidnapping for marriage, mass abduction of school children and other citizens, cattle rustling, enslavement, imprisonment, severe deprivation of physical liberty, torture, rape, sexual slavery, enforced prostitution, forced pregnancy, other forms of sexual violence, attacks and killings in communities and other commuters, and wanton destruction of lives and property in Nigeria. The kingmakers of Ibadan land have affirmed the most senior High Chief, Lekan Balogun, as the next Olubadan, assuring the people that necessary steps are being taken to ensure the installment of the next monarch. This submission was at a press conference held at the ancient hall of Mapo in Ibadan. Kayode Oladosun reports.
Following the passage of Olubadan of Ibadan land, Oba Saliu Akamu Adetunji Aje Ogungunisa I, the tradition of Ibadan holds it that the Olubadan in council recommends and pronounces the next Olubadan to the state government. In view of this, the kingmakers unanimously notified the public that
the law is there. We are the kingmakers. We nominate the most superior. There's no law without exception.
The high chiefs also called on the public to discard any rumor capable of disrupting the peaceful coexistence of residents within Ibadan.
In line with the traditional practice of the land, when occasions like this arises, the Ibadan Council has been up and doing, liaising with the State government to ensure that every necessary step to sustain the peace of the city is strictly followed.
A minute silence was observed to honor the late Olubadan of Ibadan land. In Ibadan, Kayode Oladoshi, NTA News.
Let's take a small time out. When News Extra returns, security holds sway. Illegal miners meet their Waterloo just as kidnapped victims breathe the air of freedom in one of the banditry-prone states. And we shall, of course, bring you the latest on the Magodo Phase 2 tussle. Stay with us.
It has been almost 7 years since President Muhammadu Buhari assumed the leadership of Africa's largest economy. How has it been for the man in the saddle? What are the challenges and where is the destination? Join us on NTA Network Service as Cyril Stoba sits down in an exclusive interview with President Muhammadu Buhari.
I will leave a more secure Nigeria than what it is now.
Don't miss this unique encounter that promises to be exciting and revealing.
His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kano State, Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, OFR, cordially invites the Muslim Ummah to a special national prayer for peace and prosperity in Nigeria. The national prayer will be held under the leadership of two prominent Islamic clerics, Maulana Sheikh Ali Bil Arabi, the leader of Tijaniya sect in Algeria, and Sheikh Muhammadul Mahi, Sheikh Ibrahim Inyas, the leader of Tijaniya sect in Senegal. The two-day national prayer will be held as follows. Day 1, Friday 7th January 2022. Jumat prayer at Kano Central Mosque with the Islamic clerics under the leadership of Emir of Kano, Alhaji Aminu Adobairo, to be followed by Zikirin Juma at the Emir's Palace at Kofar Kudu by 4 p.m. Day 2, Saturday 8 January 2022, the Grand National Prayer Session to be held at the Sani Abacha Stadium, Kofar Mata, Kano by 9 a.m. prompt. You are all invited. Dr. Muhammad Tahar Adamu, Commissioner for Religious Affairs, Kano State, announcer.
Dear friend, as 2021 ends, we share your gratitude for its blessings. We acknowledge your low moments too and wish you strength to carry through. At Bedmate, we'll keep making your living better because we believe that furniture is not just an item made of wood, glass, marble, or steel, but a symbol of your unity and good times with your loved ones. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year full of all the finest things you desire.
In the International Stadium, the joy of this Cup of Nations. That's sensational. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar,
The name of Allah most gracious, most merciful. His Royal Highness Alhaji Aliru H. Momo, Ikelebede Todd, the Otaro of Auchi's Sacred Kingdom, and the good people of Auchi's Sacred Kingdom invite members of the general public to the official commissioning of the Arafat Mosque in Auchi, Edo State, by His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR. Date, Friday 7th January 2022. Time, 12 noon. Jumat prayer will follow immediately after the official commissioning. Signed, Professor Zakaria Oseni. the Chief Imam of Auchi Sacred Kingdom.
I dey look for pension fund administrator. Way soft, make sense, way care for me. Shy. No be the time when story go enter the matter when it's time to deliver. Oh no, 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 no. The brand is sure them no go stress you. Call them, then they accessible. Yes, customer care where they on point. You no go regret when you try, of course. Profitable investment, everything is just a blend. If you want it good for you, my guy, make you choose premium pension today. Make that switch to premium pension. Premium pension. Make that switch to premium pension. Premium pension.
Join over 700,000 satisfied members and enjoy the premium experience at our offices across the 36 states in Nigeria, including the FCT. Call 094615-700-704 to make the switch today. Premium pension. Active today, premium tomorrow.
This is beautiful.
Quality is vital. Quality is Vitafoam.
Hello, honey.
Hey, baby.
Wow. Those guys are good in bed.
What?
Yes, we're good in bed. Hurry now to any Vitafoam accredited dealer nationwide or visit us online on www.vitafoamng.com to place your order today. Vitafoam, the fine art of living.
Thanks for staying. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu says he is determined to address the injustice meted on landowners in Magodo Estate, Phase 2 over the years, and find lasting solutions to the crisis rocking their estate. He stated this after several hours of closed-door meeting with feuding parties at the estate in Lagos. Musa Toliat completes the report.
Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu said the conflict resolution meeting between landowners and residents of Magodo Estate Phase 2 yielded positive results, with feuding parties agreeing that the committee set up by Lagos State government should commence work in earnest with a view to identifying available plots of land in Magodo area to make allocation immediately to the landowners as a restitution.
There's a judgment that says Lagos State government should give 549 plots to the Shangisha Landlord Association, and so all of that are taken in context, and available plots will be identified. In the event that there are identified plots, applications will be made. Additional plots, if you don't have the right number there, will also be identified at mutually agreeable location.
Leader of the Shangisha Landlord Association, Adebayo Adeyega, said they will monitor the activities of the committee closely to ensure that the outcome of the meeting is effectively executed.
The demand is the remaining land there should be given to Shangisha Landlord Association. The rest they will pay on ratification. They pay gratuity to us.
Chairman of Magodo Resident Association, Bajo Oshinobi, expressed satisfaction with the outcome of the meeting.
We will go along with the governor, and we hope that all decisions taken inside that hall will be implemented speedily, like he said.
Governor Sanwo-Olu gave assurance that de-escalation of police movement around Magodo will be done to ensure normalcy returns to the estate. In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
And let's head to Gusau, where 97 kidnapped victims have regained freedom in Shinkafi and Tsahe local government areas of Zamfara State as a result of intensified armed forces operation against bandits in the state. Commissioner of Police Ayuba Elkanah presented the victims, including babies and pregnant women, to the media, said they were rescued from the enclaves of two notorious bandits kingpins. Haliru Mohammed reports.
The rescue of the kidnapped victims followed the ongoing military operations around bandits camps in Zamfara state, particularly that of a notorious kingpin known as Bello Turji, who has reportedly been terrorizing innocent citizens by way of killing, kidnapping, imposing tax and other forms of brutal rule on the people. The victims, who visibly looked traumatized, having spent more than 3 months in captivity, were rescued according to the State Commissioner of Police from the notorious bandits camps covering Shinkafi, Zurmi, and Birni Magaji local government areas of the state.
On the 3rd January 2022, police tactical operatives deployed at Shinkafi axis received an intelligence report that some kidnapped victims were seen stranded in the bush. The police operatives, in collaboration with genuine repentant bandits and vigilante groups, swung into action and rescued the 68 victims from the forest.
CP Ayuba Elkana similarly announced the rescue of 29 other kidnapped victims abducted more than 2 months from some 3 villages of Gusau local government area of the state.
They include 25 females, including pregnant and nursing mothers, and 4 male children. The victims were said to have been abducted by a bandit kingpin, popularly known as Ado Alero.
I hereby take over our brothers and sisters from you, and hereby also commend you, all security agencies, for this August success in January 2022.
Some of the rescued victims who shared their ordeal said a number of persons, including children, had lost their lives while in captivity. In Gusau, Halliru Muhammad, NTA News.
Now, remember the adage, every day for the thief and one day for the owner? Well, the FCT Security Joint Task Force Operation Safe G7 has arrested illegal miners suspected to be working with bandits in the Azam forest by the Kwali-Nasarawa boundary of the FCT. FCT Commissioner of Police Babaji Sunday, while parading the suspects, said the operational vigor will be sustained until full confidence is restored to the boundaries. Onoto Yakubu reports.
Barely 36 hours after the launch of the operation codenamed Safe J7, result is already being felt in the FCT. This time, the raid and cleanup of Abuja South caught up with illegal miners at Azam Village, Kwali Area Council, said to have established a symbiotic relationship with bandits and kidnappers. The actionable intelligence also fingered the unfiltered relationship they enjoy with the head of the local community. The bandits were said to have engaged the security team in a gun duel before being forced to surrender to the superior firepower of the JTF.
The exercise is codenamed Operation Safe G7 and is intended to take the fight to the hoodlums in their hideouts within the boundaries of the various contagious states of the G7, so as to enhance safety and security within and around the states.
The village head and 3 Chinese nationals were amongst the rank of the arrested suspects.
What do you get from whatever they mine? What is your own return?
Okay, according to what we discussed with that district head, he said they will be paying for 4,000 naira by each hole.
Beside this Assam village in Tunga, maybe about 2 kilometers away from Tunga, we're working by legal. We have machine, we have excavator, we have license, we have everything.
Refined and non-refined gold, waste scale, guns, motorcycles, cutlasses, and all forms of substances suspected to be hard drugs were amongst exhibits recovered from the suspects. Onoto Yakubu, NTA News.
Police training institutes must instill the new recruits the core values of professionalism, relate friendly with the civilian population, and shun corrupt practices. Inspector General of Police Usman Alkali Baba gave the directive in a meeting with commandants of police training institutes in Abuja. Francis Form reports.
Based on the directive of Mr. President, our recruitment reflected successful candidates from all the 774 local governments of the Federation.
commandants of Police Training Institute meeting with the Inspector General of Police for the first time in the year 2022. And building its human assets at the foundation level is fundamental for a responsible force, and this formed the agenda of this meeting. The commandants of the Police Institute across the Federation are receiving briefs on the expectations of the force towards a successful training of the new recruits.
Our plan is to in place a new training regime that must impact the virtues of professionalism, knowledge, discipline, confidence, and critical decision-making potentials in the recruits. As custodians and guardians of recruits, you are to provide mentorship by displaying high level of ethical standards.
IGP Alkali Baba is not mincing words in reeling out disciplinary measures that will be taken on any errand directing staff that engages in corrupt practices.
There must be no form of extortion of the recruits by the directing staff, drill instructor, or any other staff of the police colleges. Note that the post management team has our ears on the ground, and any form of infraction on this directive will be visited with severe sanction and appropriate disciplinary action.
Now that the presidential directive on the recruitment of 10,000 police constables for 2021 has been complied with, next is the training of these successful ones, and the training is expected to commence in 4 premier police colleges and 12 police training institutes across the country on the 10th of January 2022. Francis from NTA News.
And in continuation of our 2021 review series, security correspondent Francis Fom again takes us down memory lane on major achievements and challenges by the Nigerian police force.
A quarter-guard parade signaling the end of an era and the dawn of another. The same force, same brief, but a new resolve with IGP Usman Alkali Baba assuming office on the 6th of April 2021 at the IGP conference room. The old gave way to the new as the symbol of authority was handed over to the new man.
I am mindful of the yearnings of Nigerians for a policing system that will not only assure them of their safety, but treat them with civility and hold their human rights sacred.
Secessionist agitations, banditry and other highly organized crimes welcome the new IGP as it were.
When we
IGP Usman, aware of the threats, so no time for theory, but goes frontal on the criminals with the appointment of management staff to assist in developing and implementing strategic policing policies and plans towards stabilizing internal security and restoring police primacy in the protection of lives and property. He came on board at a time the internal security architecture was being threatened by the activities of IPOB in the southeast and banditry in some parts of the north. Going after the IPOB and bandits in their enclaves, the IGP inaugurated Operation Restore Peace and other high-profile special operations for crime prevention and stabilizing security within the regions. The 2021 saw an improved working relationship between the force and Ministry of Police Affairs, Police Service Commission. In addition, the Police Trust Fund. The collaboration was also extended to other security agencies and the international community on intelligence sharing, joint operations and general security, as well as the inauguration of West Africa Information System headquarters in Abuja to combat transnational crimes. The force got an approval of ICT policy to better harness the power of ICT in crime fighting, intelligence gathering, and digital policing. These efforts led to the arrest of about 9,005 suspects and the prosecution of 21,000 cases, while successfully recovering a total of 1,887 sophisticated firearms and 52,577 live ammunition. Another landmark achievement is the emergence of AIG Garba Umar as the Vice President, Interpol, representing the African continent.
We are not just going to be police officers that will run after the suspect. No, we want to stop the suspect before they commit the crime.
President Muhammadu Buhari, in the wake of NSAS protest, promised to reform the police, including looking into their welfare and enhancing their status. Promise made, promise kept. The Federal Executive Council unfolded a new deal for the police. It was like a Christmas bonus, which came at the end of the year.
With this development now, police will be having a more attractive pay that will be commensurate with what they are doing.
While I encourage and commend government for what they have done so far, I will urge them to look at other areas.
With this encouragement by the Federal Executive Council, the force assures Nigerians of an improved security in 2022. Franks is from NTA News.
Another breather beckons. Don't go away, because we shall bring you natural remedies for the treatment of the common cold that you may not have heard of. Still ahead, an age-long harmful practice against the girl child in focus. Plus, street children, a time bomb ticking away, and the wake-up call. These and more in just a moment.
It has been almost 7 years since President Muhammadu Buhari assumed the leadership of Africa's largest economy. How has it been for the man in the saddle? What are the challenges and where is the destination? Join us on NTA Network Service as Cyril Stoba sits down in an exclusive interview with President Muhammadu Buhari.
I will leave a more secure Nigeria than what it is now.
Don't miss this unique encounter that promises to be exciting and revealing.
He's falling sick so frequently, either fever or stomachache. I keep him away from junk food.
She also feeds me apples. She says an apple a day keeps...
If you want to keep germs away, then also wash your hands regularly with Dettol soap.
Meaning?
Germs and disease spread through the hand also. For this, use Dettol soap. Dettol protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs. Dettol soap is endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association. Be Dettol sure.
I know that in the last decade, this country has been at different wars trying to keep the peace and promote the sovereignty and the integrity of the country. The troops are doing their best. The president has given them all the necessary tools. It is left for us as young people and as Nigerians to give them all the support we can. We say kudos to all our gallant military men. Please, whenever you see a police officer in or out of uniform, if you know them, clap for them whenever they need it. Give them seats in buses and trains and airplanes. Have the airline managers reduce air tickets for them or train tickets for them. Show them that we appreciate what they do and show their families that there is something right and honorable and truly remarkable about wearing a uniform and going into the bushes and the forest to fight enemies of this country that are hell-bent in bringing your life to an end. It's a very tough time, but we have to all put our hands together. Please support our troops and support our police officers.
developing the nation's human resource. There is no doubt about it. Trees and other plants are so admirable, and they produce productive farmlands and water. Imagine this colossal damage. No lands, lakes are gone. Houses washed away. Migration is imminent. All this as a result of desertification. We must fight desertification by planting more and more trees to save our lands and restore the glory of our agriculture. These will ensure a sustainable food sufficiency, adequate flow of water, and peace of mind. This message is from the National Agency for Great Green Wall.
Hello, madam. Would you like to join us on this mission?
Yes, but how?
Just one question for you. How do you keep your toilet clean?
I use regular detergent and bleach for washing and removing yellow stains. I have been using it for years.
Oh, madam, the regular detergents and bleach are used for washing clothes. To disinfect your toilet properly, you need Harpic 10X. It is specially made for germs and stains remover. Harpic sticker formula settles on stains and gives 10 times better cleaning compared to regular detergent and bleach.
Wow!
Welcome back. The emergence of coronavirus has brought about the containment of several airborne diseases with associated symptoms and causes. Common cold is one condition most people find disturbing. In this report, Elizabeth Omori examines the causes, prevention and management of common cold, which comes with changes in weather and droplets of body fluids.
Light headache, then sometimes even comes with sore throat a little bit.
I do cough most times and I do sneeze also.
Those are some of the symptoms of common cold, which doctors say are caused by more than 200 types of viruses.
It could be caused by a coronavirus or a rhinovirus. But when we say corona, there's no need to panic. It's not the corona type that causes COVID.
First signs of the common cold are nasal, which include stuffy or runny nose, sneezing, as well as itchy sore throats. Others are general body symptoms and fatigue, chills, chest discomfort, and body aches. It is transmitted by virus-infected airborne droplets or by direct contact with infected secretions.
Saliva, vomiting, and all that. So when it gets windy, those things they get dry, and then they tend to re-evaporate again into the atmosphere, to handles, to tabletops, your car keys, and the rest. So imagine touching those surfaces and then putting it in your mouth or in your eyes, because this is also the period for Apollo 2. So you put it in your eye, put it in your nostrils, put it in your mouth, and then before you know what's happening, you have the common cold.
As an upper respiratory tract infection, medical practitioners say, although anyone could come down with the common cold, children are mostly affected due to their frivolous nature.
It's good for the mother to be very healthy, to give them good breast, so that the mother is also transferring very strong immunity to the child. So that is the very basis to prevent something. Where it becomes serious, where some other complications have entered, like pneumonia, bronchitis, acute form, you now find a serious complication. 7
to 10 days, you should be fine. However, if there is a superimposed bacterial infection, then it could last longer than that.
Although the Harmattan season predisposes people to the common cold, home remedies to reduce the buildup of mucus and bacteria are recommended.
Lemon water, honey, which almost everybody knows. And then you talk about lemongrass, zogale, moringa, ureifera, the white and the red onion, and even yellow onion. When you make some concoction of them, very, very good. Steaming and hot baths is another. The viruses respond to them very, very well.
Just like what obtains in terms of precautionary measures against coronavirus, doctors say adherence to non-pharmaceutical safety tips will help reduce visits to the hospitals and keep the sinuses away. In Abuja, Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth, for that. Now, Nigeria is rated 27th amongst countries in the world where female genital mutilation, also known as female circumcision, is practiced. Basita Ipang in this report uncovers the myth behind this age-long practice, described by many as a curse from the dark ages of the 21st century.
Female genital mutilation refers to the partial cutting or entirely removing the external female genitalia. This tradition, passed from one generation to another, has raised brows and set tongues wagging in disbelief.
The parts they cut, people believe if a woman has that part, it will make that woman promiscuous, and that's not true. Secondly, if the head of a baby hits that part at delivery, that part is called the clitoris, that the baby will die. It is also not true. The question is, why mutilate a woman?
Shockingly, recent evidence-based data from the World Health Organization indicates that 91.5 million girls and women above 9 years in Africa are currently living with the consequences of female genital mutilation. An estimated 3 million girls in Africa also risk undergoing female genital mutilation. 45-year-old Christy had her genital part cut by her mother at the early years of her life. She has 3 daughters and out of ignorance also subjected her first daughter to the same practice just to fulfill cultural demands.
And the belief in my tradition then is that if a woman is not done, that she will be loosed. And they also believe that giving birth will be difficult. So it was done.
Because Christy is not alone. Lola here shares her own experience.
I was caught, my sisters were caught, my mom, my aunts, practically everybody, that I know were all caught. And I realized that it had no benefit to us because the whole idea is patriarchal. And it has a lot of side effects on the female. I went through forced cesarean section. And people need to understand that these are harmful practices and it's against the woman's rights. There are laws against the practice of FGM, and if people do this and they are caught, they are either liable to pay a fine of 200,000 or to go to jail for 4 years.
There is a belief in some quarters that the practice of female genital mutilation is to reduce a woman's libido. But does this really work?
But we found out around, we've asked, we've done the research, we've asked people we've asked survivors. Survivors have been there to speak to people that, no, that is no, it does not have any benefits.
Especially as it's been done in some of the remote areas, villages, it's a terrible practice.
However, we met Regina Duru, who has been trained as a cutter since childhood to take over from her grandmother. Fortunately, she boldly decided that the practice must end in her generation.
Coming from a family of perpetrators, when we say perpetrators, we mean people who actually do the cutting. If you come to the family of the cutters, there's this air of importance, air of being chosen by the gods of fertility that cuts, that allows the cutter that choose who he or she favors, If I had continued when my grandmother died, I would have also raised other cutters. I had to stop it in my generation. It does not exist right now in our community.
Regina is not alone in this decision. Even men are leading the campaign.
But to be honest, it's not a good practice and it needs to be stopped.
We also sought to know the medical implications of female genital mutilation.
When he heals with scar tissue. Scar tissue is not elastic. So when the baby is coming, if it's too much, it will obstruct that baby coming out. And once it obstructs, 2 things can happen. Either the uterus ruptures, or the woman will push the baby through with force and there will be a tear. If the uterus ruptures, the woman dies and the baby dies also.
Experts say that charting a new course to end female genital mutilation in Nigeria, Africa and the rest of the world might be likened to parting the biblical Red Sea. But come with me, girls and women who are at risk of this practice say They must find a way to get to the promised land, where they can live without being afraid of their bodies being violated.
We're actually hoping that government will develop proper policies towards a total, not just, preventing it, but stopping it.
Awareness and collaborative efforts, advocates say, will shine a light on the much needed path to enable the reduction of this archaic practice. Basi Taipan, NTA News.
Let's head to Umuahia now. Activation of digital infrastructure in public schools to enhance learning capacity of students is now gradually replacing the age-long analog system. This is coming against the backdrop of several levels of intervention from state government as well as key players in the education sector. Ifeoma Nduokwele reports.
Some public schools in parts of the country are laid back in the deployment of contemporary learning gadgets to develop the mental capacity of students, and Abia State is not an exception. Worried by the rising statistics, Abia State government is mapping out strategies to address the huge gap with digital learning platforms activated across different public schools in the state. And to drive the aggressive process of meeting set targets, key players are stepping up efforts in public schools to make digital infrastructure available and accessible.
The future belongs to those who have computer literacy. There's a digital revolution going on in the world, and that the beneficiaries and those who can manipulate that system will dominate the world.
Key players also frown at the level of computer literacy among students in public schools.
I wouldn't say I'm satisfied, but again, you have to consider the fact that they don't have the opportunity, to have computer training, and then at the same time have the applications. To a certain extent, I am satisfied because I know that Nigerians have done quite a bit in the world of technology.
Ada is a student of St. Peter's Secondary School and, like other of her colleagues, expresses optimism that the intervention will facilitate learning and improve research capacity of the students.
As a student who has not been studying with computer, we have not been that much enthusiastic about learning. Computer is helping students to know more about life.
The students who are enthusiastic with the gesture say more interventions will guarantee easy learning and understanding, as education for all is a responsibility of all. In Umuahia, Ifeoma Nduokwele, NTA News.
So far, so good. Fura de Nono on my mind. You might just be joining me in the craving after watching what correspondent brings us in the next part. Join us again.
It has been almost 7 years since President Muhammadu Buhari assumed the leadership of Africa's largest economy. How has it been for the man in the saddle? What are the challenges and where is the destination? Join us on NTA Network Service as Cyril Stoba sits down in an exclusive interview with President Muhammadu Buhari.
I will leave a more secure Nigeria than what it is now.
Don't miss this unique encounter that promises to be exciting and revealing.
From the heart of the Federal Capital Territory
to the ancient city of Kano,
from the sprawling rooftops of Ibadan
to the bustling markets of Aba and the creeks of the Niger Delta, you really can't beat the reach.
Over the years, we have kept going, keeping you informed, educated, and entertained.
And how have we survived in the very challenging year?
Because of our pillars of support, namely the 3 tiers of government: ministries, departments, and agencies,
corporate bodies and advertisers,
religious bodies,
civil society groups,
political parties, and most importantly, you, our esteemed viewers. Together, we made 2021 great.
And together, we shall make 2022 greater. Thank you.
From all of us here at NTA, your season's greetings and a prosperous new year.
The 2022 Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration is here again. The Nigeria Armed Forces work tirelessly day and night to give us peace to go about our businesses. Some have paid the supreme price. Should we forget the families and loved ones they left behind? No.
I am therefore privileged to honor these veterans who devoted most of their lives, active lives, to securing the nation and the world at large.
So, let's support the Nigerian Armed Forces and their families, corporate organizations, government agencies, parastatals, and individuals. Let's show our love and support for our armed forces. They are our heroes. Buy the Armed Forces Remembrance Emblem and donate into the Armed Forces Remembrance Emblem Appeal account. We love you, and your labor and sacrifice will not be in vain for spilling your blood for us to live.
Look at this. Remember the name. That is a wonderful goal.
The African Cup of Nations starts on the 9th of January 2022 on NTA. Powered by AfroSport. For sponsorship and advertisements, contact us on 090-9890-6913 or 090-3513-2838.
Thanks for staying. If Nigeria must grow what its citizens eat and meet the food security it desires, then the production level has to be multiplied. The government of the day seems not only to have come to terms with this reality, but has also factored it into the national irrigation policies being championed by its Water Resources Ministry. Musbaut Wahab reports on the value added to the irrigation sector in Nigeria.
It's dry season. But then, pre-germinated rice seedlings are finding suitable place on the wet field of Hadejia Valley Irrigation Area in Jigawa State. No magic. It is the fringe benefit that irrigation presents. Planting season multiplied, and this group of farmers can be sure of multiple harvests. The 4,050-hectare Hadejia Valley Irrigation Project is part of the 15,116 hectares of irrigable facilities rehabilitated and recently handed over to farmers across 5 locations under the World Bank financed project Transforming Irrigation Management in Nigeria, TRIMIN. But then, that seems to be a tip of the iceberg.
When completed, the intervention will add over 42,000 hectares of land into the existing irrigation area and reduce the hazard potentials of existing dams. About 625,000 jobs are expected to be created, while 520,000 additional tons of rice and other cereals are estimated to be produced annually.
The 786-hectare Gari irrigation project in Jigawa, 3,070-hectare Midurima project in Sokoto, ongoing rehabilitation and expansion of Adani projects in Enugu, 3,000-hectare Lower Ogun irrigation projects are just part of others also concurrently contributing to the pool of irrigable land across the country.
What we have now is about 157,000 hectares developed, out of which 107,000 hectares is being cropped.
Close to about 80 or 90% of our irrigation facilities are abandoned. So I must give it to this current administration for them to have been able to resuscitate.
Despite these achievements, the existing irrigable land is just 5% of the potential 3.1 million hectares irrigable in Nigeria.
My name is Ayogo.
Ignatius Ayogo, in his 15th year on other rice farmland in Uzowani, local government area of Enugu State, is nostalgic about his irrigation experience and can't wait for the completion of the rehabilitation work.
If we renovate it, we go enjoy. 2 times yearly we harvest. No money, we not go lack money. If you harvest, you plant another one.
Like Ignatius, other farmers and prospective ones are looking ahead with optimism to multiply their yields to contribute to Nigeria's path to food security. In Abuja, Musbau and Wahab, NC News.
Now, have you as a Nigerian ever cared to notice that fura de nono, a delicacy common across Hausa land, is enjoyed by people of different cultures and ethnic background? In this report, Abdullahi Lalo takes a look at the unifying power of such a drink among non-Hausas residing in Birnin Kebbi, the Kebbi state capital.
From the north to the south and east through the west, Nigeria is known for the richness and variety of its food and sweet delicacies. However, despite the diversities, there are some notable dishes and delicacies that cut across the various ethnic and cultural barriers existing in Nigeria. Fura is a northern Nigeria delicacy derived from millet which has gone through processing. Fura and nono are mixed to produce a drink that used to be a Hausa Fulani delicacy but now patronized by people from across regional boundaries. For some people, fura de nono is a delicacy taken as a full meal, while for others, fura is taken immediately after a meal to help in making them relax and fall asleep easily. Some southern Nigeria indigents living in Kebbi State told NTA News that they started taking fura de nono for years and now have adapted that they can no longer stop taking it.
Sidifat is one of the drink I love out of the Hausa food. So anytime I'm like something like I'm feeling hungry, if I drink fura, sometimes I'll be okay. Sometimes if I need sleep, as in I overstretch myself in work, there's a woman I have, I will tell the woman to get the fura for me.
I'm very enthusiastic in taking fura. In fact, Kebbi State has really trained me in changing the efficacy of my meal. My wife cannot do without taking it. She's even the one disturbing me to buy it every day.
Very, very nutritious. It's part of one of the things that made the northern Nigeria very special. My wife loves taking it a lot, especially when she's pregnant. When it is chilled, it's much better. You know, because of the hot weather of the north. So when you get it with the ice blocks and you take it when the weather is very hot, that's when you get the real taste of it.
There was a time because I couldn't speak. I was, now properly. So I was advised that if I started taking fura, I will be able to speak fluently. So that's when I started taking it. But up to now, I still can't speak it. But I do take it time to time. If you take fura, at least you will relax, even if there are some things bothering you. After taking it, in the next 10, 15, 20 minutes, I think you sleep off.
When you visit any fura joint in Kebbi State, you will understand the true definition of unity in diversity, as the delicacy is bringing together people of diverse cultures. Abdullah Omar Ilalu, NTA News.
Sure, fura de nono is a defining factor here. As I'm sitting here, I'm craving fura de nono, I tell you. Now, experts have identified environmental cleanliness as a sure way to keep reptiles away from homes. Comfort Aim takes a look at the ways to safeguard homes from reptiles during the dry season.
Naturally, during the dry season, reptiles are vertebrates that used to be in the bush shift base to cold environment and houses for succor as the bush becomes too hot for the cold-blooded animal. Abandoned, uncompleted buildings, parked vehicles, trees, and soccerways, experts explained, are their major hideouts.
It is all about a collective safeguarding the environment. Like you see, recklessly people are carrying out bush burning all over the places, and this will, force some of these wild animals, including the reptiles, closer to the home. So indiscriminate bush burning should be discouraged from all the communities and all the environment. People should just be careful, keep their doors closed, carry out some level of fumigation within the houses to ensure that dangerous reptiles like snakes are not within.
And such environment is this major building you are seeing here. And the major building here is a focus and the nidus for the settlement of snakes. And at night, they tend to go out to feed. and then tracking towards where there is dustbins and all the rest of them, sometimes closer to the ward. And that is a very big danger.
It was also gathered that Enugu State's Udi, Ogu, Axis, and Nsukka are said to be one of the snake belts of Africa, just like Katungu and other parts of the north. In Enugu, Comfort Ayim, NT News.
Winding down, we take our last break for the night, after which we bring you a bit of sports.
It has been almost 7 years since President Muhammadu Buhari assumed the leadership of Africa's largest economy. How has it been for the man in the saddle? What are the challenges and where is the destination? Join us on NTA Network Service as Cyril Stoba sits down in an exclusive interview with President Muhammadu Buhari.
I will leave a more secure Nigeria than what it is now.
Don't miss this unique encounter that promises to be exciting and revealing.
The ever-busy ancient city of Onitsha is a commercial hub with millions of commuters seamlessly linking other states daily for business, leisure, and other purposes. To upscale its road network, the construction of a 1.6-kilometer long second Niger bridge, including a 10.3-kilometer highway furnished with other infrastructure, has been in motion by the federal government. This project will ease congestion on the existing 56-year-old Onitsha bridge and boost the economic capacity of the state as it easily connects to other parts of the country. The completion of the world-class second Niger bridge Onitsha will be one of the many proud moments of the state, its people, Nigerians, and foreign investors. Onitsha, which hosts the largest market in Africa, is geared up to boast of an impressive road network. Once again, these moments are made alive by the federal government, and it is deserving of all the applause.
Femi Martins, just look at this. Remember the name.
The African Cup of Nations starts on the 9th of January 2022 on NTA, powered by Afrosport. For sponsorship and advertisements, contact us on 090-9890-6913 or 090-3513-2838.
Let's talk sports. The 4 remaining invitees will join the team in Yaoundé as the Super Eagles are expected to arrive in Cameroon this night. Details of this on our sports update.
Hello and welcome to Sports Updates. Super Eagles of Nigeria have since departed the country for Cameroon for the 33rd African Cup of Nations. The team, led by interim coach Austin Iguavon, had their last training session on Wednesday at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium with 24 players in attendance. Though some players on the initial team list are unable to be part of the team due to injuries and health concerns, Austin Iguavon is optimistic that those present have what it takes to make the country shine in Cameroon.
Nobody knows tomorrow. You don't know what's going to happen in the next minute. Like Truth said, we're going to take it game after game. There's no team that's going to the African Cup of Nations who's going to go there to just see the beauty of Cameroon, like Musa, the skipper, said. Yes, we are going there to fight and fight and fight and make sure we make Nigerians proud.
Super Eagles captain Ahmed Musa and his colleagues have promised to make the country proud.
You just have to go all out. And with the experience that we have in Egypt, I know that we're going to do what everyone is expecting us to do.
Can't say anything about the games to come. We'll just take it game by game. But yeah, I'm very confident with the players that we've got here and under our leadership that we'll do well.
The federal government further appreciated those who made it to the camp despite challenges, appealing to them to demonstrate determination, focus, resilience, and discipline on and off the pitch. Speaking at a send-forth dinner organized for the team, Minister of State for Finance, Budget and National Planning, Clem Agba, informed the players that President Muhammadu Buhari believes the squad has skills and talents to excel in AFCON.
As you carry the hopes and aspirations of millions of Nigerians, be assured of the support of the federal government. Be patriotic.
21 AFCON campaign with a march against Egypt on Tuesday next week. I am Cynthia Ogun, NTA News.
Akwa Ibom State Governor Udom Emmanuel, on behalf of the government and people of his state, has expressed condolences to the Arewa Consultative Forum over the demise of Bashir Uthman Tofa. A statement by the governor described late Bashir Tofa as a foremost politician, a businessman, a bridge builder, and a highly detribalized Nigerian who believed in the unity of the nation. As the presidential candidate of the defunct National Republican Convention, NRC, in 1993, late Tofa galvanized Nigerians across different geopolitical zones, emphasizing unity, development, and growth of the nation. In the same vein, the governor extended condolences to the Northern Elders Forum, describing the death as a sad loss to the nation. He said the nation should be comforted by the legacies he left behind. He also prayed God to repose his soul. And let's check our weather update for tomorrow, Thursday.
Glad to have you on Thursday's weather focus. Moderate dust is expected over the northern region, the north to central, down to the inland cities of the south. Mist and fog patches are likely over the coastal cities of the south, which will lift at sunrise. With increase in moisture influx over some part of the country, partly cloudy is expected over the coastal cities, with slim prospects of rains over Bayelsa, Rivers, and Akwa Ibom. The remaining part of the country will remain in those haze throughout the focus period. Thank you for watching and bye for now.
Well, our weather update ends News Extra for tonight. Thank you so much for being a part of it. But before I go, remember that rape is evil, so connect with NTA and stand against rape and rapists. I am Fatima Umaruba. Enjoy the rest of your night and please stay safe.